Hello and welcome to City Edition, the City of Bend's video news magazine. I'm Justin Feinstone. First up this month, the urban growth boundary. Here's an update on the 3 alternatives that city staff presented to the Planning Commission.
In early September, the city released 3 proposed alternatives for the UGB expansion. We released those to the city's website, to the media, and showed those to the Bend Planning Commission and the general public, and presented each alternative, including its specifics, and got comments from the Planning Commission.
Full house, public. There were some 60 seats in the council chambers and many people, including me, outdoors in the hallway. So it was what you would call an unveiling of a couple of scenarios for UGB expansion.
Right now we're on Skylanders Road, west of Bend, next to the William E. Miller Elementary School that's under construction. And the elementary school is already inside the urban growth boundary. Land surrounding it is under consideration for the UGB expansion, and is in 2 out of the 3 alternatives that we're considering right now.
When Bend had its big growth spurt back in the early 2000s, the state recognized that it was running out of land for economic and residential.
And there is a state mandate in place that we need to have a 20-year supply of developable land for residential and for employment lands.
Our first alternative, Alternative 1, has about 6,000 acres proposed for inclusion in the urban growth boundary. It distributes that more along the west, to the north, and to the east and the southeast. It tends to focus on more of the lands in our general plan that are called urban reserves, so areas that we've considered including in UGB since it was adopted back in 1981. Alternative 2 also includes about 6,000 acres for UGB expansion. It tends to focus growth in different areas than those under Alternative 1. More areas to the east, and more areas that would have lower costs for public services, water, sewer, and streets. So when you look at Alternative 1, you're going to see more areas toward Hamby Road, southeast toward Knott Road, and the south toward Baker Road. Alternative 3 is a middle ground between Alternatives 1 and 2. It proposes more land to the west than Alternative 2, but not as much as the first alternative, less land to the east, but still includes a lot of the key elements which are in each proposal, including land north of Cooley, land around Hamby Road, and then land to the southeast and the southwest. The Commission received these with a lot of questions. I think they were glad they had 3 good alternatives.
They had a fair amount of questions as far as specifics go, as far as costs, as far as land ownership, as far as master plans.
Because it was their first time to see the map, so there was definitely reaction. I think the public was very cautious in their reception of the alternatives, primarily because it's such an early version and there's still some criteria to be applied to the maps, and I think the public is aware that they're going to be changing a bit.
Each of the 3 alternatives will be examined closely under much scrutiny, and there may be certain portions of it that are modified, but it will very likely represent one of the 3 existing alternatives in its final form.
We're going to go through a process of comparing and contrasting the 3 alternatives and asking the Bend Planning Commission to select a preferred alternative. Once they've done that, then we'll notify everybody of a joint public hearing between the Bend and County Planning Commissions in late October, with the goal of getting both planning commissions to make a recommendation to the governing bodies.
I think the public process has been top-notch. It's been almost brilliant. We've offered a lot of opportunity for the public and landowners, interested parties to weigh in on the way it's going to expand. And that's why it's taken this amount of time to get here.
Today we're in a neighborhood on the northeast side of Bend near the new Ponderosa Elementary School, and the Planning Commission is looking at growing in Bend in a way that isn't favoring any one side. We're wanting to look equitably at the west, the east, the north, and the south in this process.
And that's what this process has been. We're finally going to get ahead of where we are now and be at the year 2030 in terms of our planning horizons and be able to plan appropriately for our population estimates.